hosted proudly by the Faculty of Economics and Business and featuring 147 doctoral experts. With the theme Global Leadership and International Trade, a strategic path to boost local competitiveness. This event brings together brilliant minds to share valuable insights on leadership, globalization, and economic development. My name is Adelia Sandra Swastika Putri, and I'm honored to be your MC and moderator for today's session. Let us now begin by taking a moment to prepare ourselves as we officially start the program. Now, let us rise and pay respect as we listen to the national anthem of the Republic of Indonesia, followed by a March of Grace.
Ayunkan kamu, capailah ciptamu di bawah panji PGRI. Kobarkanlah selalu semangat perjuangan, rentaskan semua rintangan. Kobarkanlah selalu semangat pengabdian untuk bangsa dan tanah air. Jadilah sarjana, jadilah cendekia, jutaan rakyat menanti. Ulurkan tanganmu, selamatkan bangsamu, berpedoman Pancasila. Universitas PGRI, tempat kali tempat, alma matermu tercinta. Ku kenang jasamu selalu padaku, ku berjanji wujudkan karya nyata. Ku doakan pada Tuhan yang kuasa, Universitas PGRI tetap jaya.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next, I would like to invite the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Persatuan Guru Republik Indonesia, Mrs. R.R. Hawi Irvina Indmoro, SAMM, to deliver the opening speech.
Terima kasih Bu Adel, suara saya bisa terdengar dengan jelas ya?
Jelas, Ibu.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk para peserta webinar 147 doktor, webinar internasional Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas PGRI Semarang dalam rangka ulang tahun dalam rangka ulang tahun Universitas PGRI Semarang ke-44. Topik webinar kali ini adalah Global Leadership and International Trade, a strategic path to boost local competitiveness. Webinar ini merupakan kerjasama antara Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas PGRI Semarang dengan Fakulti Perakaunan Universiti Teknologi Mara, Malaysia. Hadir dalam pembicara kali ini ada Ibu Dr. Haslina Hasan dari Universiti Teknologi Mara, Malaysia, dan Ibu Dr. Efriani Sumastuti dari Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas PGRI Semarang. Harapan dari pelaksanaan webinar ini adalah kesempatan kita untuk berbagi pengetahuan dan pengalaman tentang bagaimana meningkatkan daya saing lokal mengenai kepemimpinan secara global dan juga peraturan-peraturan perdagangan internasional. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu dosen dan juga teman-teman mahasiswa. Selamat mengikuti webinar internasional Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas PGRI Semarang dan kerjasama dengan Fakulti Perakaunan Universiti Teknologi Semarang. Terima kasih Bu Adel.
Thank you so much for Mrs. Hawi Ervina for the enlightening session. Ladies and gentlemen, we now begin the first speaker session of this international webinar. Before we invite our distinguished speaker to present, allow me to briefly introduce her background. Dr. Insinyur Infriani Sumasuti, MP, is a respected academic at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Persatuan Guru Republik Indonesia. With a background in agricultural economics and a strong foundation in development strategies, Dr. Afriani is actively engaged in promoting local competitiveness and sustainable trade practices. Her insights have been valuable in the integration of local economies into the broader local and global landscape. Today, Dr. Afriani will deliver a presentation aligning with the theme of our webinar, Global Leadership and International Trade, a Strategic Path to Boost Local Competitiveness. Dr. Afriani, the time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Adel. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we discuss about Indonesia at the crossroads of global trade, strategy, sovereignty, and sustainability. And this discussion, we not just to discuss trade and in the abstract, but to reflect on the concrete challenges and opportunity that lie before Indonesia in an era global transformation. We know about Indonesia as a maritime nation with strategic geography. We sit at a confluence of two major oceans, the Indian and the Pacific, and lie directly on the key global shipping lanes, including the Malacca Strait on the busy maritime in the world. So the eclipse or Indonesian archipelagic sea lanes, global trade literally flows through our waters. The sea routes are not only support international commerce, but are also instrumental in shaping Indonesian economic diplomacy and geopolitical significance. We are so at the heart of the Indo-Pacific, a region now viewed as the epicenter of economic dynamism, political tension, and strategic competition. Whether it's the rise of China, the IPAF, led by the United States, or regional cooperation throughout RCEP and ASEAN, Indonesia plays a pivotal balancing role. Let us see the video for introduction. In the video, we can see about potential of Indonesia in global trade.
China, India, the United States, the three most populous countries, easy to name, hard to ignore. But the fourth, that one tends to slip under the radar. Indonesia, a subtle but powerful player. No nukes, no invasions, no attention-grabbing headlines. Just 280 million people minding their business and quietly becoming one of the most courted countries on earth. Every big player is flirting to become besties with Indonesia. The US sees a quiet ally in a noisy region, a counterweight to China without the drama. China sees nickel, trade routes, and a polite maybe. The EU, resources for sustainable technologies. Australia, its closest big neighbor, and quietly hopes it stays chill. Even Saudi Arabia has started dropping by, briefcase in hand. Indonesia hardly knocks on anyone's door, but somehow the world keeps showing up at its doorstep. And it's not hard to see why. Indonesia's geography positions the island nation one of the most strategic locations on the whole planet. And it's probably for good. Indonesia is like a buffer zone to slow down all the madness in the world. Let me explain. A chain of over 17,000 islands stretching over 5,000 kilometers wide and covering more than 8 million square kilometers. Indonesia controls some of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. Strait of Malacca, Sunda Strait, and Lombok Strait, essentially gatekeeping any trade that wants to pass from the Indian Ocean to China and East Asia. Up to 40% of all global trade passes through Indonesian waters. The Strait of Malacca is even more crucial for China, as 80% of its oil imports squeeze through the narrow gap. The current world order goes through Indonesia. So for everyone, Jakarta's docility is more valuable than 1,000 treaties, because if Indonesia ever decided to make things complicated, a lot of boats would be very, very late. And here's where it gets interesting. Indonesia doesn't pick sides, no alliances, no declarations of eternal loyalty. It doesn't throw tantrums in front of the global community. Just a calm shrug and a polite, "We'll see." It just smiles and nods and gives everyone just enough to stay hopeful. This is what diplomats call strategic ambiguity. To the US, Indonesia says, "We believe in a free and open Indo-Pacific." To China, "We welcome economic cooperation." To everyone else, "Let's talk about minerals and palm oil." It's kind of a foreign policy judo, using everyone's enthusiasm against them, while Indonesia stays cool in the middle, sipping kopi. But Indonesia's popularity isn't solely due to its geography. Its economic rise is also a massive part of the reason why everyone's interested. On the global stage, Indonesia isn't just a big island, it's a massive economic powerhouse. It's got one of the largest economies in Southeast Asia and is quickly closing in on the top 15 economies worldwide. By 2050, it's predicted to become one of the top 5 economies on the planet. That's not a small deal. So why the sudden rise? First up, resources. Indonesia is basically sitting on a treasure chest that the world is scrambling to unlock. It pumps out half of the planet's nickel, the metal magic that makes electric vehicles zoom. Add in palm oil, rubber, and coal, and it's like Mother Nature rigged the resource lottery in Indonesia's favor. And here's the kicker. Indonesia is starting to move beyond just exporting raw goods. It's getting into processing, manufacturing, and even high-tech industry. Take electric vehicle batteries. Indonesia has the nickel, but now it's making the world come to it. Rather than simply selling raw materials and letting other countries build their factories elsewhere, from 2020 onwards, Indonesia decided, if you want our nickel, you'll build your EV factories here. A strategy that said, we're not your mine, we're your manufacturing partner. Tesla, Ford, and Hyundai all fell in line. Now they're investing billions millions in Indonesia, not just to process the materials, but to manufacture the end products. Indonesia made everyone play nice. Chinese firms work next to American suppliers inside industrial parks built with South Korean money governed by Jakarta's terms. Indonesia's government has made it clear, if you want to access the country's mineral wealth, you have to commit to building facilities within its borders. This policy is part of the country's effort to move up the value chain and avoid simply being the world's mining pit. Instead, Indonesia wants to be the heart of the green economy, producing technologies of tomorrow, not just raw materials for it. And Indonesia is doing this all without military threats or economic coercion. It's simply saying, we've got what you want, we're going to make sure it's used to build something bigger than just a factory in your backyard. This is economic diplomacy in full swing. Indonesia's making moves in silence, letting its influence do the talking. And then the next dimension, relationship with China. China is not just knocking on their door, but it's already halfway through it with its shoe off. Indonesia is a key link in China's Belt and Road Initiative, that trillion-dollar plan to redraw global trade routes with Chinese steel, debt, and diplomacy. Major projects like the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail, Southeast Asia's first bullet train, are built with Chinese money and engineering. It's the BRI's showcase child, sleek, fast, and chronically over budget. But here's the thing, Indonesia takes the money, not the leash. Jakarta demanded that Chinese firms partner with local companies, hire Indonesians, and respect their domestic oversight. It wasn't just built here, it was built here, but we're the boss. Indonesia plays the game well, accepting Chinese investment, expanding trade, and even letting Huawei into its 5G rollout, but never fully stepping into Beijing's embrace. A quiet, stubborn independence runs through it all. And that's the trick. Indonesia manages to be crucial to China without ever being claimed by it. And it's not just about infrastructure. Indonesia draws firm lines, no Chinese military bases, a hard no to illegal fishing, all the while hosting military drills with the US Navy. Jakarta's objective is to bolster authority with grounded confidence. China wants allegiance. Indonesia offers a handshake with gloves on. This avoidance of dependence on others applies to finances too. While some countries have stumbled into debt traps, Indonesia has kept its books relatively clean. Its debt to GDP ratio is under 40%, far lower than many peers, giving it more freedom to walk away if a deal smells rancid. And there's more. Indonesia isn't just interesting because where it is and what it possesses. It's interesting because what it is. As somewhat of a rarity in the global south, a functional democracy with relative stability. No coups, no crackdowns, no leaders for life. Just a noisy and most certainly imperfect but adequately functioning political machine. Emphasis on adequate functioning. That's not attractive for headlines, but it's very appealing to anyone investing billions. And that money, there's room for it to grow. Indonesia has a massive youthful middle class with tens of millions joining the consumer economy every year. By 2045, it's projected to be the world's fourth largest economy, and the consumer market is in the core of this development. Household consumption is estimated to make up 54% of the country's economic activity. Thus, it's not a surprise why everyone from Uniqlo to Apple to Samsung wants in before the crowd fully arrives. And it's not just about markets, it's about meaning. Indonesia is quietly becoming a diplomatic voice of the global south. It's not a loud revolutionary like Cuba or a hard-aligned state like Iran. It's the quiet moderator, speaking at climate summits and trade forums with an aura of reasonable adulthood. So, it makes sense why everyone wants to be friends with Indonesia, because Indonesia isn't trying to be anyone's exclusive companion. It has a population of a superpower, the diplomacy of a non-aligned monk, and the resources of a country you don't want to argue with. It does not threaten, it does not posture. It just shows up to every geopolitical party with a plate of nickel and a non-committal shrug, and somehow leaves with everyone's phone number. In a world where everyone's shouting for attention, Indonesia whispers. And that's why everyone's listening.
Okay. Uh, from on the video, we know Indonesia must leverage its geographic advantage not only to facilitate trade, but to command a strategic role in global supply chains. To do this, we must continue to upgrade port capacity and custom efficiency, strengthen digital logistic platform, promote multi-modal transport integration, rail and land, establish a special economy zone near key ports. This is how to move from being a passive transit zone to an active trade in Indo-Pacific era. Okay, we discuss to sovereignty and trade policy, the downstreaming dilemma. And dilemma in this week we discussed because Indonesia is rich in natural resources from nickel, bauxite, palm oil, and coal. But for decades, we export this raw material at low prices while import finished goods at high cost. Even though we can actually produce raw material into finished good and export, we will get a much bigger benefit such GDP, menurunkan unemployment. I'm sorry, I mix English and Indonesia. Okay, we discuss on case study to Morowali Industrial Park. This is a project in Indonesia for industrial in Sulawesi. And examples of downstream success is the Indonesia Morowali Industrial Park in Central Sulawesi. The park is home to dozens of smelter and processing facilities, primarily focus on nickel and stainless steel production. It's backed by China and domestic investors and employ tens of thousands of workers. And this is for unemployment. The park has transformed a rural region into an industrial cluster with its own port, logistics system, and training center. From just exporting nickel, Indonesia now export semi-finished and finished goods, including stainless steel and battery precursors. And this volume or value added very, very nice. In the case of downstreaming and encapsulate the tension between national development goals and international trade norms. On the end, Indonesia must protect its sovereignty and priorities long-term industrial growth. On the other hand, it must remain a credible and cooperative player in the global trading system. For global trade, Indonesia should first strengthen its legal and diplomatic capability in trade negotiation and WTO processes. Second, transparency and sustainability in its industrial zones, because no for green economy is isu yang saat ini sangat-sangat viral begitu ya. Next, build a coalition with other developing nations advocating for fair trade rules. For this project, government mengeluarkan agenda yang dinamakan dengan hilirisasi. It's not just economic policy. It's a declaration that Indonesia is ready to move up the value chain, lead in strategic industry and asset in the global economy on its own term and align with sustainable development. Sustainability and a future of trade. As we move deeper into the 21st century, trade is no longer only about efficiency and cost. Sustainability has become a fundamental in global commerce. A growing number of countries, particularly in European Union, are embed environment consideration into trade regulation. Sebelumnya Mas, ya. Jadi masih risk to Indonesian export. Several of Indonesian top exports are directly exposed to climate linked trade restriction. Steel and aluminum, which are energy intensive to produce, particularly from coal-based power. And second, palm oil, CPO, which face security over deforestation and land use issue. Third, nickel and mineral product, where extraction and processing involve in significant environment footprints. If we don't adapt to green standard, Indonesian exporter is losing access to high value market in Europe. Trade competitiveness is become synonyms with sustainability. Multinational buyers, financial institutional, and even final consumers now demand transparency about how goods are produced, not only prices. Yeah. And mereka selalu menanyakan, are emission mentioned and minimized? Are workers treated fairly? Are companies accountable for environmental impact? For Indonesia, this request strong environmental regulation and enforcement, improving ESG data, disclosure and reporting system, and supporting producer, especially small business, to meet certification standard. And then opportunity for battery supply chains and green industrial zones. When there is a real, so this is an opportunity for Indonesia, because memang kita harus memanfaatkan opportunities ini di samping tantangan dan hal-hal yang memang sangat dilematis, ya. Indonesia holds one of the world's largest savers of nickel and critical input for electric vehicle. And video, we know by embracing green industrial practice, we can become global in the clean energy supply chain. The government has already begun developing green industrial zones, especially Wida Bay in North Maluku and Morowali Industry in Sulawesi. This zone aims to adopt renewable energy, circular economy principle, and ESG compliant governments. If we align our natural inducement with green practices, we can lead in producing component for the global green transition, while enhancing domestic industrial sophistication. Next, we discuss about digital trade and small business empowerment. Sustainability is not only environmental, it also involves inclusivity and resilience. Here lies the second major opportunity for digital trade. To full capacities on this, small business need training in digital marketing, export regulation, and payment system. And this in Indonesia, we have crash. And this crash ini sempat diprotes gitu ya oleh Donald Trump di Amerika Serikat karena ternyata transaksi kris itu melebihi kartu visa dan lain-lain begitu. Padahal ya ini memang kan kelebihan Indonesia begitu. Next, logistic and custom processes must be streamlined. Platform must support ESG compliant and traceable source for niche market like eco product, halal certified good, and ethical fashion. In Indonesia, we will begin to halal certification and ethical fashion. The combination of green production and digital access can significant uplift small business, diversity export, and create job across the archipelago. Indonesia must green and digitalize in trade. In this case, the message is clear to remain competitive in the new era of trade, and Indonesia must green as export and digitalize and trade base. This is not simply, but compliance. It's about positioning Indonesia as a credible supplier in global clean energy chains, as a leader is sustainable commodities, and it's a vibrant digital marketplace. For policymakers, industry, and academy must work together to increase global trade in Indonesia, especially on invest in clean technologies, build green infrastructure, promote ESG standards, and support digital trade inclusion for small business. Only then can Indonesia move from the margin of global trades to its strategic core, not as a resource extractor, but as a sustainable and digitally empowered economy. As we conclude this session, allow me brief revisit the key message we have explored together. First, we highlight Indonesia's and strategic advantage within global trade. Positioned and at the intersection of Indo-Pacific trade routes, Indonesia holds the potential to be a crucial connector to supply chains and an active regional trade. Second, we address the complex relationship between sovereignty and global trade obligations. However, they must be implemented with awareness of international framework like the WTO. Third, we examine how sustainability and digital transformation are reshaping the rules of trade. Climate regulation, ESG expectation, and digital commerce are no frontiers where competitive is defined. Together, this strategy, sovereignty, and sustainability are not isolated. They are deeply interlinked. Success in one requires action in the others. For a strategic recommendation for Indonesia, one, align trade strategy with regional trade architecture. Indonesia must strengthen participation in platforms like RCEP, IPEF, and ASEAN, ensuring our national interests are integrated into regional cooperation. Two, strengthen legal capacity in WTO and trade diplomacy. As a dispute over export bans and sustainability standard rise, Indonesia must build a strong, credible voice in international forum backed by robust legal expertise. Third, invest in green infrastructure and carbon accountability. To meet global sustainability standards, Indonesia should accelerate the development of renewable energy in industrial zones, strengthen emission monitoring, and adopt green financing tools. And fourth, empower small business and the creative economy for digital exports. Inclusive growth requires digital trade capacity building, especially for small producers, artisans, and startups. The future of trade is not only in mega projects, but also in mobile phones and marketplace. In closing, allow me to leave you with a simple but always powerful idea. Indonesia must not just be a market, but must be a maker, a mover, and a shaper of global trade. Thank you very much for your attention. Uh, I'm sorry because my English is not good, and saya kembalikan kepada moderator yang cantik. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you so much for Dr. Efriani for the insightful presentation. We now open for a question and answer session. Dear participants, please feel free to raise your virtual hand or submit your questions via the chat box. We will address as many as questions as time permits. About Indonesia, about the Greens, or about the global leadership, you can casually ask me, and we would like to accept as many as questions as time permits. So anyone who wants to ask the questions, you can join us by the raise your hand from virtual Zoom, or you can submit your questions via the chat box. Anyone? Okay, now there are 307 people who joins us for today's session. So anyone who wants to ask to Dr. Efriani about this session, you can casually raise your virtual hand, or you can, if you feel shy to ask her about something, you can try to type it from the chat box. Okay, there's one question from the chat box from Adina Hasmi. The question is, to what extent do developing countries have the capacity to comply with the green trade standards in digital trade? Okay, we have one question, or anyone have already another question for Dr. Efriani?
Okay, thank you, Mbak Adina Hasmi. Ya, Mbak Adina Hasmi, your question. To what extent to developing countries have a capacity to comply with green trade standard in digital trade? Saya mungkin akan jawab dengan bahasa Indonesia. Boleh, ini dari kita apa dari sana ya, Mbak?
From
Dari
Indonesia.
Indonesia. From Indonesia. Oke, saya akan coba jawab bahwa green trade itu memang sudah jadi satu hal yang harus ya saat ini untuk global trade dan standar digital trade ya tentunya kita perlu tetap memperhatikan dari sisi moral ya, karena tidak mungkin tidak kalau green trade dan digital trade ini semakin banyak arahnya ke lebih ke non 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 moral begitu, sehingga ya kita perlu mengedepankan adanya konservasi ataupun perdagangan yang mengedepankan moralitas gitu ya, tidak hanya didasarkan pada kepentingan utama atau kalau sebenarnya kita itu kalau saya mengatakan lebih banyak ini ya dosa begitu karena mengatakan bahwa prinsip ekonomi itu kan mendapatkan sebesar-besarnya tetapi dengan pengorbanan yang sekecil-kecilnya. Ya, ini sebenarnya nggak benar gitu ya. Karena kalau di situ diterapkan itu tidak ada moral hazardnya. Itu sebenarnya kan memang dari eh, apa teorinya Adam Smith ya. Itu sebenarnya ada dua buku. Yang satu memang prinsip ekonomi seperti itu. Jadi em, mendapatkan manfaat yang sebesar-besarnya untuk tetapi mengeluarkan apa istilahnya pengorbanan yang sekecil-kecilnya itu di buku yang pertama. Sementara di buku yang kedua ini yang sangat jarang dibaca oleh orang itu justru di situ mengemukakan tentang moral hazard, tentang kalau kita mau sustainability, mau berkelanjutan usahanya, ya memang eh, kita harus mau tidak mau memperhatikan tentang lingkungan, lingkungan untuk SDA-nya, untuk SDM-nya, dan mungkin saat ini ditambah dengan digital. Itu mungkin yang bisa saya sampaikan.
Okay, thank you so much for Dr. Efreni. Before we end this session, we have a second question, Doctor. So, from Ding Ding Marinding, how can digital trade policies be aligned with the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs? Okay, for Dr.
Ya,
Efreni.
pertanyaan yang bagus ya. Bagaimana kebijakan digital trade untuk target Sustainable Development Goals. Sebenarnya untuk Sustainable Development Goals ini banyak sekali ya. Kita perlu mungkin lebih memfokuskan ke yang bagian mana nih? Bagian SDM, bagian maksudnya untuk tenaga kerja, untuk ke arah kemiskinan, ke arah growth atau ke arah yang mana gitu ya. Tetapi mestinya kebijakan digital trade ini tetap mengedepankan adanya tadi green economy ya, atau ke arah lingkungan. Karena kalau sekali lagi kita tidak memperhatikan lingkungan atau tidak memperhatikan apa ya hal-hal yang bersifat moral hazard itu biasanya usaha yang kita lakukan atau trade itu akan tidak berkelanjutan. Karena kalau untuk enggak hidup ya. Ya, sehingga untuk kita kaitannya untuk sustainable, untuk berkelanjutan, ya, itu ya mau tidak mau, suka tidak suka itu harus mengedepankan green economy. Mungkin di Indonesia belum diberlakukan 100% gitu ya, tapi di negara-negara yang maju seperti mungkin Eropa, Amerika itu sudah lebih mengedepankan pada green ya, lebih ke green. Makanya mereka kalau mengkonsumsi produk itu tidak hanya melihat dari sisi harga, kalau di kita kan harga utama, tapi kalau di sana lebih mengedepankan apakah proses produksinya ini ramah lingkungan, apakah tenaga kerja yang digunakan itu sudah terpenuhi, maksudnya kewajiban-kewajiban dari produsennya, ya. Apakah sudah ada keadilan, misalnya eh, pabrik itu didirikan di satu lingkungan, apakah lingkungan itu terganggu dengan proses produksi mereka atau tidak? Ya, itu mereka ingin mendapatkan informasi itu. Ya, sehingga kadang untuk produk-produk Indonesia ini karena isunya Indonesia itu kan memang mungkin belum ramah lingkungan, meskipun mungkin sudah ada beberapa yang ramah lingkungan. Makanya untuk itu perlu ada sertifikasi gitu ya. Selain sertifikasi halal, mungkin perlu juga sertifikasi untuk ini greennya di sebelah mana. Maksudnya yang ramah lingkungannya ada di sebelah mana. Itu Mbak Adel.
Thank you.
Bisa mencerahkan dan membantu.
Okay, thank you for the interactive session. Once again, we extend our sincere appreciation to Dr. Afriani for sharing her expertise with us. We can conclude that Indonesia is in a strategic position in global trade, which brings both benefits and risks. Opening up to the world can help the economic growth, but it must be done carefully to protect the country's independence and key industries. With the right policies, Indonesia can grow stronger while still protecting its national interests. The goal is not just to join the global trade, but to help shape it for the country's future. Okay, we move on to the next our second speaker, who joins us from Malaysia. Before she begins her talk, I'd like to introduce her remarkable academic and professional background. Dr. Hazlina Hassan is a senior lecturer at the Department of Professional Accounting Studies, University Teknologi Mara UITM, Malaysia. She holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Accounting from University Kebangsaan Malaysia and a master's degree in accountancy from UITM. She's also an associate member of MICPA, Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Dr. Hazlina's teaching experience spans over 2 decades across diploma, undergraduate, and postgraduate levels. She has supervised numerous graduate theses and published extensively in the areas of intellectual capital, leadership, innovation, and knowledge management, particularly in the context of SMEs and higher education institutions. She has also received multiple gold medals for innovation in accounting and intellectual capital tools, and has been involved in international research grants and academic conferences globally. We are honored to have her speak with us today. Dr. Hazlina, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adil. And also, thank you very much for the insightful presentation from the Dr. Alfriani. Okay. Good morning and Assalamualaikum to all the audience. Okay. Apa khabar semua? Salam perkenalannya daripada saya, ya, Dr. Hazlina daripada University of Technology Mara, UITM Shah Alam. Okay. And I believe some of you might be here, okay, come to the Selangor. Miss Adele, can I just share my slide or you want to share?
Would you like to share it by yourself, or we can help your to?
I want to share my slide by myself.
Okay,
so easy for me to control.
that's all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Hazlina.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I would like to express my sincere gratitude, okay, for invitation as being a speaker for today's international webinar Yeah, and at the same time participate, celebrating your 44 years of universitas, PGRI Semarang. Okay, congratulations, well done. You have been in academic industry for about 44 years, okay? Okay, so without further ado, um, let me begin my presentation. Okay. Okay, I want to share first. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yes, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So basically, okay, going back to my to the topic for today's, okay, it's about global leadership and international trade, okay, a strategic path to boost, yeah, our local competitiveness. Okay, before that, how I'm going to hide this one. Okay, yes, can. Okay, hang on, my screen is so many things in my screen. Okay, so this is the contents of my presentation for today. Okay, I just like to share, okay, the ideas, okay, based on my knowledge, okay, in terms of this global leadership, okay, and how we are going to embed, okay, the characteristic of good leadership in terms of leaders for the local, and then how we're going to be being in international level. Okay, so we have about eight elements here. Okay, so first of all, I would like to start with the importance and the relevancy of the global leadership and international strategy. Okay, so by right, okay, we're going to aim to understand how effective global leadership practices, okay, like setting international strategies, cross-border collaboration, and managing cultural diversity, okay, and participation in international trade, exporting, importing, global market access, okay, the one that explained detail from the previous speaker just now, Dr. Aviani, okay, help local businesses or industry become more competitive. It is about finding out what leadership strategies and trade mechanism can strengthen local firms so they can succeed in wider and more challenging, okay, in the global markets, right? And why this is still relevant? Of course, okay, because of nowadays we are moved to the globalization, digital economy, and also competitive markets. All right, so this topic is very important because today's business operate in highly globalized world where borders are less limiting, borderless technology connect markets instantly in this digital economy, and companies face tough competition locally and internationally. So you must make sure your business is actually value added, okay, different with others, okay, so how innovative you are and etc. So because of this, knowing how global leadership and trade can boost local strength is essential for the policymakers, managers, and entrepreneurs to stay relevant, grow, and compete successfully. Okay, first we talk about global leadership. Okay, what make different with the traditional leadership? Okay, so for the global leadership, it's actually the ability of leaders, or whether individuals, teams of organization, to successfully operate, manage, and inspire people, business across different countries, cultures, and markets. All right, so as a global leader, okay, the skills that needed, and because we are supposed to be beyond the traditional leadership, because we want to go beyond to the international trade. Okay, so first of all, of course, okay, firstly, you have to know about the understanding diverse cultural norms and values. Okay, of course, when it is international, the culture also different. So you as a leader, how you cater, okay, how you multi-diverse, okay, the cultural norms and values, managing multicultural teams, okay, the teamwork you have from many other countries. So how you're going to manage, and then building cross-border partnerships, okay. in terms of networking, okay? How you're going to go beyond that, not just local, and then navigate complex international market and regulations, okay? How you're going to follow, comply with the all regulations and adapting strategies to local context while keeping a global vision, right? So in short, global leadership is about thinking globally and acting locally and globally at a same time. Okay, well, we are going to look at the quality global leader. What are the characteristics? Okay, so number one, okay, firstly, normally we go to the cultural intelligence. Okay, so it is vital for navigating diverse work environments and markets. Leaders with high cultural intelligence can interpret cultural cues, adjust their behavior, and communicate effectively across cultures, minimize misunderstanding, and build trust. Okay, so for instance, let's say, okay, I have given you the Malaysian executive, okay, managing a joint venture in the Middle East with respect local custom, okay, they have to respect their religious practices, negotiation styles. So in order to ensure smoother business operation and stronger leadership, okay, relationship. Second, okay, you must have, okay, a strategic thinking as a global leader, all right, to anticipate global trends, okay? So what are the global trends now? Okay, my next slide we'll talk about this. Identify emerging opportunities. As a leader, you have to align local resources with international market demands, okay? So they're going to develop the forward-looking plans, all right, that leverage local strengths to compete globally, okay? That is as a global leader. They must think vision, they must think long-term, and they must think how to innovate, okay, in terms of innovative management. Okay, and then in terms of networking and partnership, a key enablers of the international expansion, okay, so must have actually built and maintained strategic connection with international partners, government, industry association, and investors. So such networks open doors to new markets, share technology, okay, how about the funding and knowledge transfers, okay? So that is suppose another characteristic of a good quality global leader. And we have the last one, which is flexibility and resilience, okay? So this quality is to empower global leader to respond to sudden changes, okay, and crisis. International markets are dynamic and often unpredictable due to the economic shifts, okay, policy changes, okay, because before this just sustainability, now move to the ESG, and then move to the AI, okay? So you have to be able to adapt, to be flexible, okay, in these global events, okay, strategies, and so on. So resilience leaders can pivot business models, adapt, okay, products, or redesign the supply chain quickly to sustain growth, okay? Such, for example, like previously, we have the COVID-19, which is pandemic, right? Okay, many local manufacturers shift, okay, to produce export-grade medical supplies, okay, instead their original product, they move to the medical supplies, okay, just to suit for the situation, so it becomes flexible, all right? So these are the quality global leaders, okay, characteristics that must be embedded, okay, in the leaders, okay, not just the normal one, okay? They have to have this kind of characteristic to go beyond, okay, the international trade. Okay, so how to develop global leaders locally? So these qualities enable leaders to bridge, okay, local capabilities with global opportunities, ensuring that local business remain competitive, relevant, and capable of thriving in the face of global challenges. Okay, so how we are going to develop this, okay, embed this in our local business leaders, okay? So how to do it? All right. Number one, okay, at least we can go for leadership training and mentoring. Okay, this is pivotal role in equipping the emerging, okay, leaders with the skills required to navigate complex international business environment. Okay, like you give them the structured training, okay, which can focus on the areas such as cross-cultural management, okay, strategic international marketing, global negotiation, okay, you must know how to negotiate, but not in local level, must be international, global, and risk management, okay? So in addition to the mentoring relationship, okay, with experienced industry practitioner or maybe successful global entrepreneurs, okay, can accelerate practical learning, foster confidence, and transfer tacit knowledge that is critical for operating beyond domestic markets, okay? And this is a very important, as if you have a good intellectual capital, especially in human capital, okay, you can see that your business is different with others, okay? Because by having this intellectual capital, actually you are added value, okay, to your business, okay, daily transactions, okay? And we have the second one, which is international exposure and exchange. Is actually the okay okay, fundamental for developing global mindsets. Okay, so this can include participation in overseas trade missions, okay, short-term exchange programs, okay, maybe we can have international internships, okay, involvement in cross-border projects, okay, from one country to another. So this such experience will expose, okay, our local leaders to diverse business cultures, regulatory environments, and also consumer behaviors, okay, and also it will enhance, okay, their intelligence and strategic adaptability, okay? So this form of experiential learning complements a formal training and helps cultivate a practical understanding of global market. Okay, and the last one, it could be by building global partnership, okay? Enhance global leadership capabilities, okay, like local leaders who actively establish a relationship with international partners, okay, including multinational corporations, okay, like global suppliers, industry associations, and foreign government agency. So by gaining a sense, okay, we'll also expose them to the advanced technology and also expose them to enter for the new market. Okay, so this partnership by right will foster knowledge transfer, okay, promote innovation and encourage joint ventures, okay, which can accelerate local firms' integration into the global economy. Okay, so perhaps, okay, by having this kind of training, okay, partnership, okay, with the assistance with the government or any NGOs or local governments agency, okay, can help, okay, develop our global leaders from local to the international. Okay, and this one in terms of international trade, okay, already mentioned deeply by Dr. Irani just now, okay. So of course, okay, I believe all of you know about this. What is international trade, okay, and why this international trading is very important in a country, okay. Of course, it is cornerstone of the economic development, especially for emerging economy, okay, especially those ASEAN, okay, and then the benefit that you can have if you go for this what we call international trade, okay, because you can expand the market access, stimulate economic growth, and also driving innovation. Okay, so by reaching customer beyond national border, firm can increase sales revenue, and this is common, achieve business sustainability even when domestic demand is limited. Okay, and exposure to global market also encourage firms to upgrade product quality, adopt advanced technologies, and meet higher international standards, and all of which foster innovation and enhance competitiveness. Okay, because nowadays it's actually the innovation can make you sustain. Okay, and I believe you have heard of this word, innovation sustainability. Okay, it's interchangeably is used. Okay, in nowadays research area and so on. Okay, as for the Asian economies, which are highly dependent on exports, trade integration has been a major driver of a rapid industrialization and poverty reduction. Okay, for instance, like Malaysians and Vietnam, significant participation in global electronics supply chains demonstrates how strategic engagement in international trade can transform local industries into the competitive global player. Okay, All right. So as I said, okay, these are the main four benefits, okay, from local. We want to transform to the international trade because we want to get more larger customer base, okay, increase in volume, all right, sales, economies of scale, of course, okay, for your countries, okay. Of course, the technology enhancement of course, also in terms of knowledge transfer, one of the big issue into the intellectual capital, okay, you know how to take it, okay, how to you know what is actually intellectual capital, but how you're going to measure it, okay? How to understand that the concept of measurement of intellectual capital in terms of human capital, structural capital, and relational capital, all this is actually knowledge transfer. We also have in terms of the benefit to the job creation and also the economic growth. Okay, so in terms of the international trade, okay, it's not just a mere of the exchange of good, okay, but a powerful driver of development. Okay, international trade, okay, for Asian countries, okay, active participation in international trade enable local business to scale up, compete globally, okay, combined with strong global leadership. This benefits strengthen the resilience and competitiveness of local economies in an increasingly dynamic and interconnected. Okay, so it's just not based on you want to do export and import for the international trade. What important part is actually by combining, okay, with the strong global leaderships, okay, with the criteria that I mentioned before this, okay, from my previous slide. All right. Okay. So the global trade trends. Okay, so as I said, okay, there is a global, international global, okay, but what is the trends currently for these global trade trends, okay? So there is one significant trend is increasing, which is the importance of the regional trade agreements, okay, whereby we have the within an Asian framework and the regional comprehensive economic partnership. Okay, you have the what we call RCEP, okay, Regional Comprehensive Economic, okay, which is exemplify how regional integration can expand market access. Okay, so this is like rules and regulations, okay, being embedded by the government. Okay, for the what we call came in force into 2022. Okay, now the world's largest free trade agreement covering approximately about 30%, okay, of global GDP and provide Asians with preferential access to major markets such as China, Japan, and South Korea. Okay, so another defining, okay, trend is the rapid growth, okay, of digital trade, the proliferation of the e-commerce platform, okay, digital payments and cross-border online service has opened new pathway of the local firms, okay, including our macro, small and medium enterprise to reach global customer without the need for extensive physical distribution networks. Okay, this is the trend for the international trading, okay, currently. All right, recently, according to Asian Digital Integration Index report, the digital economy could add an estimated about $1 trillion to Asia's GDP by 2030. So further highlighting the transformative potential of the digital trade. Okay, so keep on positively increasing, okay, for the trends of the global trade nowadays. So when this happened, actually, right, it gave a challenge, okay, to the local firms, all right, because local firms must compete directly with well-established global players that often have superior resources. Of course, they have resources, they have advanced technology, strong brand recognition, okay, so this competition can erode local market firms feel differentiate or upgrade their offerings. Okay, so this challenge, okay, one of the way how to overcome this challenge, of course, you have to look back your leaders, okay, your teamwork, okay, how you're going to improve this. Okay, that's why we suggest go for the global leadership. Assessing, okay, second point of the challenges, okay, assessing international markets, which require firms to comply with stringent quality standard and also regulatory requirements, okay, like certifications, okay, you must have international certifications, you must fulfill the culture that embed in that countries, okay, sustainability criteria and product safety regulations. So failure to meet these standards can limit your market access and also damage the reputations, okay? Thirdly, all right, the local firms must continually innovate to remain relevant and competitive, okay? This includes investing in product development, process improvement, and digital capabilities to respond to rapidly change consumer preference and technological shifts. Okay, so innovation. Okay, we always talk about innovation. All right, so if you are innovative enough, okay, then you can compete because innovation is part of the value added as well. And innovation also can make your company, your business sustain. Okay, so what types of innovation? Yeah, okay, the leaders also must have this type. Innovative management, okay? So how, yes, they have to go for the training, okay? They have to have this, what we call the set-minded, long-term visionary. Okay, I will talk about the leadership style after this. Okay, so without continuous innovation, local business risks stagnation in an increasingly dynamic global marketplace. So they have to change, they have to transform so that they will be able to compete with the global trade market. Okay. All right. So how you're going to link this leadership characteristic with the trading strategically? Okay, as I said, okay, I'm more focused on the global leaders. Okay, so effective leadership. Global leadership directly influence the success of the international trade strategies, okay, by ensuring that firms are well prepared to expand into new markets, okay, negotiate favorable terms and adapt to diverse cultural and regulatory environment. Okay, so the word effective and efficient, okay, by right, the effective leadership, okay, they must embed some skills, okay, such as negotiation, cross-cultural management, okay, trust building are essential for developing a sustainable trade relationship, okay. For example, leaders who understand cultural nuance can build stronger partnership with the foreign distributors, okay. So how to embed this kind of skills, okay, in negotiation, okay, how effectively you negotiate with the international buyers, okay, and manage multicultural teams, all right. So as we can give one example here, okay, the connection in terms of Asian SMEs, okay, how you expand regionally by leverage strong leadership, okay, let's local food producers that strategically rebrand, okay, comply with halal certificate, and they can go beyond, okay, global trade. I will give you another example after this, okay. All right. Specific leadership style that can contribute to the effective leadership. Okay, so there are many actually in the books, in the theories, okay. Sometimes when we look at the upper echelon theory, we also have how the characteristic of the CEO and etc. Okay, so one of it, okay, I think very glamour one, okay, famous, is actually transformational leadership. Okay, so this style focuses on inspiring and motivating followers to exceed expectation by transforming their belief, attitudes, and goals. All right. So when they have this kind of characteristic, okay, this leader can foster innovation, encourage personal growth, and create a strong sense of mission and purpose. Okay. Many scholars also argue that this transformation in leadership is highly effective in times of change. Okay, it depends on times. Okay, modernized currently. Okay, but then transformation. Okay, normally this leader also embed together visionary leadership. Okay, they are very vision. Okay, they look into the future. Okay, other than just give instruction, they ask, okay, their followers to think out of the box. Okay, they ask the followers, challenge them, okay, how to minimize the process. Let's say, okay, if our routine is 30 minutes to do this process, so how are you going to make it even with 15 minutes? So this one actually can generate innovation, okay, innovation part, skills from your followers, your employees. Okay, so by visionary leadership as well, you compel vision of the future and guide people towards it. Okay, you're not left your employees behind. Okay, they excel at strategic thinking and align people effort with long-term goals. Okay, this is also the part of the effective leadership, okay, which the organizations need in order to transform, okay, your leader become global leaders. Okay, and if you have heard one leadership named charismatic, okay, charismatic leaders inspire enthusiasm and devotion through their personal charm, persuasive communication. Sometimes when you look at that leader, wow, okay, so charismatic, okay, they have the magnetic personality. So this style can energize followers and build loyalty, but it may rely heavily on the individual's trait rather than structures or system. Okay, so when balanced well, charisma can contribute to the effectiveness. Okay, normally full of the positive aura. Okay, so by having this kind of leadership skills, okay, together with the knowledge transfer, okay, a good knowledge, a good human capital, all right. So actually, effective leaders, okay, can be drawn from these elements, okay, these types of skills. All right. So by combining them in different situation, okay, it depends. All right. And also these types of leadership also very flexible. Okay, it's not just by book. Okay, look at the rules and regulation. All right. If something happened, they cannot do. So they are more flexible and also resilience. Okay. So supposedly, this is supposed to be, okay, to boost, okay, your local competitiveness. Okay, so in this context refers to the ability of local businesses to remain profitable, productive, and innovative, okay, while delivering goods and services that meet international standards at prices. Okay, right. Okay, so as I said, okay, we cannot avoid with this word lah, yeah, innovation, okay, investment and trade. So to boost local competitiveness, you must have this. Okay. All right. So I give you a few strategies for the local business too. Okay. I will share you some example. Okay, maybe a few example from Malaysia and some example from the successful, okay, story of our local entrepreneurs. Okay. Okay. However, for strategies, local businesses, okay, to achieve sustainable competitiveness. All right. Okay. Some of the example maybe develop export-ready products. Okay, by investing in product design. Okay, branding, packaging that meet international consumer preference and regulatory requirements. Okay, branding also is part of the intellectual capital. Okay, the intangible asset that you have to go for it. Okay, you have to actually invest some R&D cost. Okay, to get brand. Okay, I mean to add value to your organization. Okay, and then you have to meet global standards. Of course, if you want to go global, okay, you have to obtain necessary certifications to comply with foreign market entry condition and build consumer trust. Okay, how you're going to do it as a leader? From alliances and partnership, collaborate with the regional distributors, foreign investors. Okay, if you are global leaders, you can go for this multinational cooperation to access the new market. Invest in digital platform. Okay, normally a good leader, okay, but it depends whether risk taker or risk averse. But again, you can do the what we call the cost analysis, cost benefit analysis, and get the information on what are the benefit go for the digital platform. Okay, nowadays you have to be flexible. Okay, all are moving to the digital platform. Okay, so that you have to go for the leverage digital marketing, online payment system, and etc. All right, so you then only you can compete with others. Okay, and of course you have to attend global expos, trade fairs, okay, any showcase product and international exhibitions, not just at local level. Okay, you have to be creative, okay, innovative, okay, and be really resilient and also flexible, okay, and brave enough to move outside, okay, build network with potential buyers and partners, and stay updated on global market trends and competitive innovations. Okay. All right. And of course, okay, as I said, the one that embedded like transformation and so on, there must be a strong leadership skills in terms of strategic thinking, cross-cultural competence, negotiation, and diplomacy, and also innovation management. Okay, in terms of types of negotiation, there are many types of organization as well. Okay, so they must go into details on how to overcome these types of characteristic for them to become a strong leadership skill. Okay, of course, it must be from the assistance from the governments or any educational institution to make sure if this effort come true. Okay, train leaders who can think globally but act locally, support SMEs in technologies, facilitate digital trade and sustainability practices. Okay, so by having these types of strategies could help, okay, increase the level of global critical thinking of the leaders. Okay, so I can give one example. This is the example from the Indonesian. All right. Example from the local entrepreneur success in our country, in Malaysia. Okay, like our local entrepreneur who transformed a small business into an international brand by developing a global leadership skill. Okay, so we have, for instance, like Dr. Tony Fernandez. Okay, the international brand, the founder Asia actually, okay, use his international exposure and global partnership. Okay, so that is the characteristic of the global leaders. Okay, international exposure and global. Okay, regional budget air travel. Okay, by understanding global airline business models, building cross-border alliances, the partnership, the networking, and adapting them to the local Asian markets, he turned a local airline into a well-known name in Asia and beyond. Okay, so from local airline, go now for the global Asia. They cater for the budget ticket. Okay, so as for SMEs in Indonesia, okay, the one that I can get, okay, I can obtain. All right, a few from SMEs in Indonesia. Okay, we have number one, Indonesian coffee, local beans, global reach. Okay, these are some of the photos. Okay, Aceh Taroja coffee farmers. Okay. Many local farmers, okay, used to sell beans only to middlemen, right? But with strong cooperative leadership, okay, good networking, okay, they performed their partnership to export directly to premium buyers in Japan, okay, European Union, and also the US. Okay, earning higher price and build Indonesia's reputation for specialty coffee. Okay, so this is how the contribution of the leaders, okay, can transform these SMEs to the global, all right, global market. So the good local leadership helps farmer meet international quality standards, negotiate better contract, and position Indonesia coffee in the global market. Okay, that is how to in leaders contribute actually. Okay. And the good quality leaders also go for the batik goes international. Okay, so this one, I used the picture of the Danar Hadi export batik globally. Okay, if you go to the website, right? Okay, expand beyond local sales to the international fashion shows and retail outlets abroad. So this happened because leaders invested in branding. Okay, they go for branding. Of course, the quality control must be good. And also they go for the trade fairs. Okay, so based on the leadership decisions itself to go for the branding, okay, come up with the good innovation and finding overseas partners, turn this traditional craft into the competitive export. Okay, so as you can see my picture here, all right, actually I recently went to Yogyakarta, all right, the Batik Giriloyo Wikisari, okay, Wikisari, yeah, okay, in May, okay, May 2025, okay, we have the SMEs collaboration, actually international, what we call the interview session with them. All right, they also actually go for the online platform marketing, okay, but yet to reach to the higher level, yeah, okay, but they just in terms of batik, they just focusing on the traditional one, okay, it's very good indeed, okay, my visit here actually, okay. I do hope to go to the Semarang later after this, yeah. Okay. in terms of digital trade empowers MSMEs, okay? And this one is actually in terms of the platform, okay? The platform that they use, okay? Balinese craft people sell worldwide through digital platform. Okay, so the characteristic that have these leaders is transformation into the manual to the digital one, okay, and adaptation during the pandemic, okay. So this happened during the pandemic, help this MSME survive and reach international customers, okay. Many Indonesian MSMEs joined platform, okay, like Tokopedia, Shopee, and even global marketplace, okay, like Amazon. So local handicraft sellers in Bali, okay, for instance, this one, okay, reach buyers in Europe and also US through this digital trade. Okay, so guided by local government training and strong entrepreneurs leadership training. Okay, so knowing how to use online tools, okay, so what is actually good because the leaders, okay, have that kind of digital knowledge. All right, so that's why they help local product to reach these international customers. Okay, we have another tool. Okay, sustainable fisheries for export. Okay, this is Indonesia, one of the world's biggest fish exporters. Okay, some small fisheries in Sulawesi and Maluku, okay, have improved sustainability and product quality under strong cooperative leadership. Okay, again, the keyword, okay, leadership is comply with the international standards. Okay, when they comply, then they can ask others, the teamwork, to do it, okay, to make it happen, opening doors to premium markets like the European Union. Okay, so this leadership, okay, focuses on sustainability and compliances, which makes local product competitive and trusted globally. Okay. And the last one, okay, we have a Gojek, okay, started as a small call center for motorcycle taxis under visionary leadership, okay, the one I mentioned just now, the characteristic, the visionary leadership. It grew into a global tech platform, expanding its digital payment and delivery services to other Asian countries. Okay, so by having this visionary leadership transforms local service into regional players. It shows how Indonesia can lead in this digital economy. Okay, so these are few examples, okay, real life stories, all right? So as a conclusion, these real examples, okay, actually remind us that global leadership is not just about big companies or government policies. It is also about everyday leaders. It could be farmers, artisans, okay, digital entrepreneurs who make smart decisions that connect Indonesia with the world, okay? Because I know that the audience today is more on from Indonesia, that's why I'm using the Indonesia. Okay, actually it's applied to all countries. Yeah, global leadership and international trade must go hand in hand. True, indeed, the strong and visionary leadership enables local businesses to compete globally. Okay, so you can look at from this true story. Okay, we can see how the strategy, innovation, and collaboration can transform local potential into global competitiveness. Okay, so you also, okay, we as a students, okay, we also as employees, okay, as educators, can play our part as future global leaders. Global trade does not automatically strengthen local businesses. It is strategic, forward-looking leadership at every level, and that transforms opportunities into lasting competitive advantages. Okay, so please remember that global leadership and international trade are not distant ideas. They are strategic tools and shape real opportunities for our local communities. So today we have seen how Indonesian coffee farmers, okay, like the one I mentioned just now, batik artisan, okay, sustainable fishery have proven that strong leadership unlock global markets. Each of us here has play role, okay, as I said just now, educators, policymakers, okay, so we can go, okay, we can being a good global educators as well, okay, as leaders, right? Okay, so with that, okay, I end my presentation with one sentence, okay, let us take inspiration from these success stories and continue to build our country that leads confidently on the global stage. Okay, everyone. Okay, this is my contact number if you want to go through. Okay, if let's say you want to have a collaboration later, or you want to become one of our university student. Okay, masters. Okay, you want to do masters. Okay, PhD, right? You can come to us. Okay, you are most welcome. All right. So with that, I end my presentation. Assalamualaikum. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Dr. Hazlina for the enlightening and impactful session. We now open for the forum questions and answer from participants. You may ask your questions by using the raise hand feature or by typing them into the chat box. So, Dr. Hazlina, we already have one question
Yeah.
from Sheila Karunia Alzena from Upgris.
Mm.
She asked, hello, my name is Sheila, and my question is, could you share successful examples of how international trade agreements or global market access have directly benefited local industries or SMEs in developing countries?
Okay. All right. Hang on. How am I going to end my, hang on, presentation here. Just click this one, right? Okay. Here. The question is the chat box, right? Okay, let me check. Okay. Okay, Sheila. Okay, Sheila, thank you. Okay, Sheila, your name remind me of Sheila Majid. Okay, have you heard of this singer, popular singer from Malaysia, Sheila Majid? Okay. Successful example of how international trade agreements or global market access have directly benefited, okay, local industry SMEs in developing country. All right. Yes. Okay. We have the example, yeah, like Vietnam textile industry. Okay, because the trade agreements like EU Vietnam free trade agreements. Okay, we have the EVFTA. Vietnamese textile SMEs gain duty-free access to European markets, leading to higher export and more local jobs. And we have also example like in Indonesia. Okay, palm oil, fisheries, and furniture benefit from Asian Free Trade Area. Okay, AFTA agreement which lower tariff within Asian. So this make Indonesian products more competitive. Okay, not just in Indonesia, of course, in Malaysia, Thailand, and also Philippines. Okay, we also have regional comprehensive economic partnership is opening opportunity for the Indonesian SMEs to export more easily within Asia Pacific. So I think these three examples is actually how the government, okay, actually help, okay, the local industry to go further. All right. Am I answering your question, Sheila? Sheila Majid. Sheila Karunia Alziena.
Okay, Sheila, do you already have the answer that you want? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Sheila already said thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Hazlina. Anyone who wants to ask another question for Dr. Hazlina? For now on, we have 341 people who joins us for this session. So anyone who wants to ask to Dr. Hazlina, because this is a great opportunity for us to share our mind, our experience.
Actually, the audience is from the graduates. I mean the mahasiswa, mahasiswi.
Yes, mostly we from mahasiswa and mahasiswi from Upgris, but also we have several students from outside from Indonesia. So it is such a great opportunity to
Yeah.
share experiences between us.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Your your audience, your mahasiswa, okay, undergraduates or postgraduates?
Undergraduates.
Oh, undergraduates, I see. Okay.
So anyone again who wants to ask question for Dr. Haslina?
Yeah, anything you want to ask?
Okay,
Yeah.
we have one question, Dr. Haslina, from Tika Wahyuningsih. How does effective leadership influence the formulation and execution of international strategies to enhance organizational competitiveness?
Okay. Okay, thank you for the question, Ms. Chika Wahyuni. Right? How does effective leadership influence the formulation and execution of international strategies and enhance organizational competitiveness? Okay. So this question quite general because I want to know in the point view of what is it formulation for the government formulation and execution or for the company itself? Okay, because we know that as a global trade, okay, they must go for the international strategies, okay, to enhance their competitiveness. Okay, we cannot be at the normal we cannot be at the normal situation of doing business. You know, in order to go global, be competitive, okay, as a leaders, okay, there must be, okay, visionary, okay, they must actually motivate employees to go for innovation, okay, and then they cannot be like, because you mentioned about the effective leadership, okay, we also have many types of leaders, okay, there is leaders that actually just give instruction and then let the employees do their task, okay, without monitoring, without give idea, without monitoring, without give them what are actually their long-term, you know. So I give you in the point view of business to itself, okay. So if you are good, okay, effective leader, at the level of formulation, the execution of the international strategies, okay, you must have a good teamwork, all right? You must segregate the duties. And then, okay, as I said, okay, if you want to go global, okay, how you find the regulation outside, okay, you must know the management of multicultural, okay, so you have to formulate and then you have to execute to your team members, all right, then only they can implement, okay. After implement also you must be observation, okay, because some of the challenges, if in terms of planning, okay, formulate the strategy, yes, you can do, but in terms of execute, in terms of how you comply, you know, the complement, the what we call how you the action, the strategies, okay. So as effective leaders, not just prepare all the rules and regulation, not just showing your subordinate all the instructions, okay, all your long-term strategies, short-term strategy, but also you must observe, okay. So that is successful or effective leaders, okay. Okay, that is my point of view. If leaders in terms of government, how they formulate strategy is different part, okay. But in general, okay, a good leader, effective leader in formulation and execution, they must strategize, okay. They must have a very good team. And then, as I said, they must also have the negotiation skills, you know, and then they must have a very good timeline, Gantt chart, okay, and many more. In education, they're very general, okay. So if you have that kind of characteristic, okay, you can be effective leaders. Okay, that's all from me. Chika, Miss Chika.
Okay, Chika Wahyuningsih already said thank you, Miss.
Yeah, my
Hey,
pleasure.
anyone who wants to ask question? Or this is the last question for Dr. Haslina?
Yeah.
Okay. It might be the last question for Dr. Haslina. Thank you for the great interaction. We truly appreciate Dr. Haslina for her time and thoughtful responses. So we can conclude that global leadership is a smart way to help local areas grow stronger and more competitive. When leaders take part in international discussion and build relationships around the world, they can bring back useful ideas, knowledge, and opportunities. This can help improve local businesses, skills, and innovation. Global leadership isn't just about being known worldwide, it's about using that position to support and grow the local economy in a meaningful and lasting way. Thank you so much for Dr. Haslina for your time. We have now reached the end of today's international webinar. On behalf of the committee, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to both speakers, all participants, and everyone involved behind the scenes. May today's discussion inspire further collaboration and strategic thinking in advancing local competitiveness through global leadership and trade. Do not forget, participants will receive an certificate as part of the event benefits. You can check it by the chat box. So all the webinar participants, please fill out the following link to receive your e-certificate. If within 5 minutes the certificate is not entered, please refill before using a different email. Okay, this is the last session for this event. We would like to say thank you so much for all this participation, and especially for our both speakers, Dr. Eviani and Dr. Haslina, for the time. Thank you so much for the attention. I'm so sorry if I would make a mistake from the MC and to the moderator. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you at the next international webinar.